one and all. High fly ball into right field. She is gone. He struck him out.
2 balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swing and a drive, deep left field. It's his way back. What the ball? Chris Taylor.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network, also known tonight as Group Therapy Session for a Los Angeles Dodgers team that just suffered, Scott, one of the worst losses you could possibly imagine. We're going to talk bullpen. We're going to talk Dave Roberts. The only thing that's going to get off free tonight, I think, is the Dodgers offense. They blow a 5-run lead and end up losing 9-8 to the Reds. I've got a stat that I will share with you momentarily about the Dodgers bullpen, Scott, that is going to blow your mind. But where do you want to start on this one? Is it the fact that they blew a 3-run lead and then a 5-run lead? Is it Dave Roberts' decision to let Caleb Ferguson die on the mound in the 9th? Is it the overall totality of the Dodgers bullpen and how much they've struggled this year? As you process this game in real time, where do you want to start?
Oh man, it's hard to get away from how bad the bullpen was. It's been inexcusable. This is a bottom 5 bullpen in Major League Baseball. I would speak for a lot of Dodger fans. This is probably the most concerning group that we've seen from the Dodgers, and I would say a decade. Like this is. I feel comfortable with one arm going into the game, and his name is Evan Phillips, and that's about it. As we'll get into it, but for me, I'm stuck on the bullpen. I'm annoyed with the offense. You just don't tack on anything after Freddie Freeman's grand slam, and let's get into it, man. This is a lot to digest here.
So the Dodgers, Tony Gonselin gives them 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 of those earned, 5 strikeouts, and he leaves the game with an 8-3 lead. From there, the Dodgers go Almonte, Gratterall, Phillips, Ferguson, and Shelby Miller. Evan Phillips worked a perfect inning with 1 strikeout, Scott. Here are some numbers that are going to blow your mind. I had to do a quadruple take when I looked at the box score. Almonte, Gratterall, Ferguson, and Miller threw a combined 2.1 innings pitched in this one. They allowed 9 hits and 4 walks. They got 7 outs and gave up 13 base runners while striking out 0, Scott. 7 outs, 13 base runners, 0 strikeouts for 4 Dodger relief pitchers in this one.
Yeah, they just didn't seem to have any feel without no one. It's been concerning watching Brusdar Gratterall come in and give up nothing but contact every single time out. His ERA is a mirage. The gift of an error that masked his earned runs in his most recent blow up. That has quieted his, explosive ERA that should be there. I don't want to hammer onto him, but they should be. This is a really, really tough group. As far as getting whiffs, Yancey's struggling right now. His sweeper's just not on. And when it gets hit, it's been getting really hit like for a fair amount. They're giving up quite a lot of extra base hits. I think they're giving up one of the highest slugging percentages in all of Major League Baseball. And just to really cap it off, if we're going to go straight into it, I'll just dig right into Caleb Ferguson. Going straight to the 9th inning, you put him in 2 runs, and he faces straight righties out of the gate. He's allowing on the season over like a .315 batting average.
Yeah,
against
I've got the
right-handed
numbers
hitters.
here. Against right-handed hitters this year, he's faced 53. He allowed a .319 batting average just before tonight, a .396 on base percentage, and a .404 slugging percentage. So they're OPSing 800 against Ferguson. So there you go. Continue.
Yeah, and the conditions sucked. It was really wet, and it was gross out there, but it's inexcusable. I don't know. I don't know what Dave Roberts was thinking in that moment that, Caleb Ferguson was the guy to go to. Evan Phillips, if you don't want the up down, you want to save him for tomorrow, or do you want to win the game?
Yeah.
When you have all right-handers out there, if you're not going to go to another right-hander, I couldn't think of a worse guy to go to than probably one of the most unstable lefties against right-handed hitters on the staff right now. So
yeah,
it's just,
I'll say this because I know there will be questions about Phillips going in the 8th. So the Dodgers had a 2-run lead, and the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the Reds were due up in the 8th. So I actually don't have a problem with Evan Phillips in the 8th. I think there's 2 things I have a problem with. One is a bullpen issue. The Dodgers don't have enough good arms in the bullpen right now that you trust. We could look at this and say, Phillips is clearly number 1. Who's number 2 and 3 on guys you trust right now? And you would sort of pinch your nose a little bit and probably say Brusdar Gratterall is in that group. And I would say Caleb Ferguson, who's been on the whole very good, even after tonight I believe the ERA is 2 points, or just dipped over 3, 3.38. And I know he's struggled of late, but Caleb Ferguson's still a guy I feel okay about. I was surprised at how bad his numbers against righties have been. But when you're the Dodgers, you just don't have very many arms. It's worth noting, too, the Reds have 7 righties in their lineup and 1 switch hitter. So this is just a team that no matter when Caleb Ferguson came into this game, it was going to be a heavy dose of right-handed hitters. So my first issue, if I'm going to sort of spread the blame a little bit, is with the Dodgers bullpen. The second, though, is with Dave Roberts and the way he handled Ferguson in the ninth. So I want to save Roberts here for just a moment. But give me your breakdown of the Dodgers bullpen. I mean, this has historically been one of the best bullpens in all of Major League Baseball. There have been moments when you feel really good about it because Yency Almonte goes through stretches of being very good, and then he has a night like tonight where he allows 3 hits, walks a runner, and gives up 1 run. And there's a little bit of bad luck mixed in with, a lot of contact that he's allowing. You've got Brusdar Graterol, who allows 4 hits, 1 earned run. But again, like the ERA on Graterol just jumped over 2 for the season, 2.10, just a tick above Evan Phillips' 1.90. You've got Ferguson, who allows 3 runs in a third of an inning, and the ERA is just 3.3. You got Shelby Miller, who I think a lot of people think Shelby Miller's better than he is. Like, I don't think he's very good. I mean, he's walking almost 6 guys per 9. He comes in 1 batter, absolute bomb to left center field to end this game. So part of the reason, Scott, is just the Dodger bullpen. And I know they've got guys that are going to be healthy and coming back at some point, but how did the Dodger bullpen get so bad so quickly?
It's just what, our guy Blake likes to say. Relief pitchers are the most volatile guys on your roster, and it's just what it is. Yency Almonte, he was amazing last year. Breakout, and not able to repeat that success. And we'd like to deploy Evan Phillips as a fireman role, but you need him. And, if that's the spot that they feel is the best for him, then any other position outside of that is, again, going to be a difficult ask. So that's just where it was. So if you save Evan Phillips for the 9th, what's to say that Ferguson doesn't do that in the 8th? So you have to have somebody out there. And if you really want to ask me who my most trusted bullpen arm is next to Evan Phillips, I mean, he's not even with the team at the moment. It's Daniel Hudson. So that's tough to say, but that's, for me, that's who they really need back. They need to see him here. And they'll need to address this at the deadline. It's a concerning group. There's no other way around it. The reason the Dodgers have had so much sustained success for years has been pitching. Yeah. Because last year when the offense was slumping at the end of the season, their pitching was continuing to dominate. So when your offense slumps, your bullpen and your starters need to pick up that slack. Yeah. And Gonselin gave them innings when they had a lead, and the bullpen blew it. Yeah. You should be able to do that.
I do need to clean something up here, Scott. I said they got 7 outs and allowed 13 base runners. It was actually 14 base runners because Evan Phillips had a hit by pitch thrown in there as well. So 14 base runners, 7 outs for the non-Evan Phillips relievers tonight for the Dodgers. We did have a comment, Scott, and you kind of hinted at this earlier. Poor House Picker mentions Evan Phillips only threw 11 pitches. It sounded like, Scott, that you would have been in favor of throwing him back out there in the 9th inning. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
In real time. I mean, I'm not trying to rewind the tape. Obviously, we all would have done that in hindsight. But in real time, 11 pitches for Evan Phillips. Do you think that was a move that Dave Roberts, knowing the state of the bullpen we just described, knowing that the only guy you have left that you have any semblance of trust in is Caleb Ferguson, who's terrible against righties, knowing that it is all righties left out there, it feels, in hindsight, but also like knowing the information that he would have known at the time, like that would have been a reasonable, entirely defensible decision by Roberts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would have sent him back out there. Like, hindsight, sure, that's always going to be, it's easy to say, but knowing that you have just a string of righties and you're asking him for 1 up and up down at the beginning of a series against the Cincinnati Reds after an off day, if you feel you need him with Syndergaard on the mound on Wednesday, fine. Yeah. But with the offense not having put up any runs after Freddie Freeman's grand slam, I would want that win. So I would like to, lose the game with my best arm out there. Yeah. And again, this is going to come just from hindsight, and that's fine. But if I'm managing the team, I want to win that game, knowing the offense has gone kind of cold, and they're getting blown down since he's got some fire out of their bullpen. Yeah. And Dodgers offense didn't do a thing. Yeah. So if they're not threatening, I want to lose with my best arm that I have out there. Yeah. And it's tough when you need to ask him to do an up down just to save 8th and a 9th. But are you going to want Shelby Miller out there? in the ninth? No. So it's like it's a tough position. Their bullpen needs to be better. They need to find arms somewhere. And they have maybe one and a half that you're fully trustable.
Yeah. By the way, the Reds bullpen by comparison, the last 3 guys to pitch 3 2/3 innings, just 1 hit, no walks, 6 strikeouts for those guys. You mentioned the manager, Jonathan. We appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for that. His question is, did the beat writers go easy on Dave Roberts? If so, why? I have a couple thoughts on this, and we'll get to the actual decision. And trust me, I'm going to be critical of Dave Roberts. I can assure you of that. I'll say this about the beat writers that I think is never having been a beat writer, but knowing people who are beat writers. The first thing is they're interacting with Dave Roberts every single day. I'm not saying they're consciously avoiding saying mean things about him because they know they have to show up and see him at the ballpark the next day, but that has to play a role. That has to be in the back of your mind that if you're the guy that goes hard after Dave Roberts and then you're going to hopefully get a good quote from him the next day, I imagine that's part of the equation. The second thing is, and this is in defense of beat writers, I think the thing that Dave Roberts is best at, his superpower, if you will, is his ability to manage a locker room. It's his charisma. It's his personality. It's the type of human being that he is and his ability to get guys to play with him. And so I do think there are beat writers who maybe to the outside person seem like they go soft on Dave Roberts, but part of that is because they maybe have a greater sense, a greater appreciation for the human being Dave Roberts and his ability inside the locker room to do the things that I think has made him so successful over the years. So before we get into kind of the ninth inning, because we're going to get there, Scott, I'm curious, do you agree with those two assessments? One is that if you're a beat writer and you've got to interview Dave Roberts every single day for 8 months, maybe you're a little more hesitant to go in on the guy. And secondly, that maybe they have a more positive view of Dave than other people because they spend so much time around him. And again, his superpower, according to the people who know baseball and know Dave Roberts best, is his personality, his charisma, his ability to inspire people.
Yeah, I mean, Dave has been, talked about as, real players manager. Guys like playing for him. Yeah, that's what he is. And, I'm a fan of baseball, and sure, you'd always like to get on managers.
Yeah.
I don't think that beat writers cover for Dave Roberts.
Yeah.
It's that there's a certain etiquette in the media that goes on with big league managers that you don't really cross that line. It's just not what you do. Dave knows that the bullpen's struggling. Dave knows that these guys aren't having good outings. It's not like he's oblivious to it.
Yeah.
He, sticks up for his guys, and sometimes he's going to, just like I talked about, he's going to live and die by that. And that's just how it is. Guys got to perform. Same thing. You can give the keys, but you got to drive, and the players got to play, and that's just how it is. That's a terrible answer to hear as a fan after a loss like that, but players got to play. And Dave's going to say that, that's baseball. And that's a thing fans do not like to hear. I don't like to hear it myself because you're frustrated and you're reactionary. You say you put these guys in another market and they'll do the same thing. Maybe, but that's not how LA media does it. And Dave Roberts has been very kind and generous with his time. And that's just Dave. I don't really know what else to say about it. Dave's a good manager. But when the stuff happens like this and it's a game on June 6th, you want some more, but they've got to manage an entire season here.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I hate being the guy that is critical of managers because I think so often we can play the hindsight game and it's really easy to come on and say, hey, you should have done this. You should have done that. So I'm very hesitant to do it. But in a situation like this, where it's not rocket science, as far as I'm concerned, as to how Dave Roberts could have or should have managed the ninth inning. So again, let me be clear. I'm perfectly fine with how Dave Roberts decided to set up his bullpen. If you ask me, Evan Phillips is the number one reliever I trust, and he put Evan Phillips in the most difficult spot, the 2-3-4 hitter in the 8th inning. The second reliever I would trust the most is probably, in this, honest, I'll rewind. I probably would have had Gratterall second on that list because I know I'm facing a team that is all righties. So I would have lined Gratterall up to be my 9th inning guy if Evan Phillips has to be my 8th inning guy. But that aside, I think what he screwed up was not putting Caleb Ferguson into the game in the 9th inning. That's a defensible move to me because of the state of the bullpen. And because I'm sitting here saying, they didn't have a demonstrably better option out there than Ferguson. The problem was how long they left Caleb Ferguson in. Here's how the 9th inning played out. So we got a walk of Spencer Steer to lead off the inning. 6-pitch walk. First 3 pitches were all balls. Gets back into it, full count, walks him on pitch number 6. Second batter, ground ball, single to right field. Shift. Miguel Vargas was shifted over behind second base. You'd like to see that be an out, but it's not Vargas's fault because of where he's standing. So now you've got runners on first and second in a 2-run game with nobody out. He gets to Newman, first 2 pitches, ball. They go do a pitch conference. Will Smith talks to him. Miguel Rojas talks to him. They get a foul out. And it seems like the inning has started to turn at this point. Fairchild next up. He gets ahead of Fairchild in a 1-2 count and then walks him 3 straight pitches after getting ahead 1-2. So now you've got the bases loaded in an 8-6 game. This right here is where a change needs to be made. You've got a pitcher out there who struggles against righties, who has gone walk, single, foul out, walk. Absolutely, Scott, there's no excuse for Caleb Ferguson being left in to face another pitcher. It's the 8-hitter. It's Kirk Casale. It's a guy who's terrible. You need to get that out. Ferguson clearly can't do it. They should have gone to Shelby Miller then. They didn't. Casale walks. Then they leave Ferguson in again because now the only lefty in the whole lineup is up there. And this is potentially the only defensible thing here, although I'm not defending it. I would have brought Shelby Miller in to face the lefty. Ferguson hits the lefty. Then Shelby Miller comes in, and it's a long double into left center field. So to me, literally you could have named any guy in the bullpen, right? Whoever we just called up. Nick Robertson. I don't care who it is. Anybody who's a pitcher should have been in to face Kirk Casale. And I would have said, you know what? I'll take my chances from here on out. It's indefensible to me that Caleb Ferguson was left in to face Kirk Casale and then again Fraley. And by then the game's over.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it did look pretty from the start. He came out there and oh man, once he beat Fraley, I almost flipped over my desk.
It was a wrap.
That thing was, my laptop was almost in shambles. So, I want to know where Victor Gonzalez was.
Yeah.
Like a lot, because he's been far more successful against right-handers this year.
Coming off an off day, by the way.
Off day, and he hasn't pitched since the 3rd. So he's allowed a sub 100 batting average against everybody's favorite stat against righties. So I'm just not sure. Sure what it was. Dave, he's going to tell you this, and everybody's going to hate that you hear this. He liked him in that spot. And that's where it is. So where's Victor Gonzalez?
No, I think it's a fair question. I hope it's a question that Dave Roberts gets asked post game. I'm checking Twitter right now to see if we get some comments here. Because it just doesn't make sense the way that this was handled. I mean, would you have taken Ferguson out against Fraley once he finally gets to the lefty with the bullpen, with the bases loaded? I mean, I'm still taking him out, even if it's against a lefty at that point.
Yeah, I mean, seeing how his first few batters went, I would have taken him out there. Yeah. I honestly would. It's easy to say this. It's always easy to do this. We can do it and appease everyone, and that's how it goes. And you'd like to say it went differently, but it's a game that you feel you should win when you're up by 4 and offense really had nothing going. But I want to win that game. Yeah. Caleb Ferguson didn't have the feel for the strike zone. It's not like he was missing close. He was missing wide. So I'm not sure why either Shelby Miller wasn't up ready to go or Dave didn't pull him prior with a string of righties. It's not like he looked at Jake Fraley and said, this is the batter that he's going to get to. It's not if it gets to that point, we're in trouble. Yeah. So I mean, safe situation, guy's not a closer. You really have to be on pins and needles, especially with a lefty that does not do well against right-handed hitting. So it's just tough. I would have done the up down with Phillips. It's just a tough one to lose. Really is. Gonselin gave them what they needed. Offense put up what you needed. And again, we've done this all year. When the bullpen blows it, you put up 8 runs, you should win the game. And their bullpen's their biggest concern, and it's been the most disappointing group in like a decade, long as I can remember. I can't think of a worse one than this. Yeah, no, it's a tough one. I was just doing the math here on the Dodgers offense because I know this was another talking point for you. I said, hey, the offense scores 8 runs. It's hard to blame the offense. 1 for 17 after Freddie Freeman's grand slam in this game. 1 for 17. I believe 2 or 3 walks mixed in there, but to have 1 hit in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's tough. I mean, again, I don't want to pile on the offense. Like if we're ranking who's most to blame here, Caleb Ferguson is number 1. Dave Roberts, I think, is number 2. And, the offense is probably 5th on that list. Like it's Almonte or Gratterall in some order, 3rd and 4th there. But
the offense going 1 for 17 after that grand slam is a tough one. They finish, they only left 5 guys on base. So, I mean, that 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position. These are the types of numbers that it's hard to be too disappointed in, but they had 7 hits through 4 innings and got just 1 in the final 5+. It's tough. A couple errors on the Dodgers as well. Max Muncie had 1 error that led to a run. Tony Gonselin, that one looms larger as we go. I want to talk about Max Muncie and his defense, but offensively, I mean, like, is it as simple as the offense just took their foot off the gas? Is it the Reds bullpen? I mean, the last guy that came in, Salazar, looked pretty nasty. Like, what do you make of the offense?
A mix of both. I mean, maybe they did. I really didn't see many at bats worked. It just seemed like they kind of went a little quietly. Bullpen was nasty for Cincinnati, but I don't care. You have to tack on. You have to keep a foot on on the gas. It doesn't matter. You're playing a great American ballpark. You should be able to put up runs. You need to work it. And when you feel the pressure, when your bullpen's starting to slip a little bit, you kind of have to take that again, like, into consideration when you're going up to the plate, when you're on offense, and keep tacking on. It's just, that's tough. Reds left 13 on base and they won the game.
Yeah.
So that just shows how much pressure they were applying. Dodgers weren't hitting spots. So, but that's tough. They didn't have a home run, mind you, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And they won the ball game.
Yeah.
Take that for what everybody wants. It's tough.
Let's go through and break down how this one played out, because it is a part of the storyline. The Dodgers jump out to a 3-0 lead in the first inning. Max Muncie with an RBI double, JD Martinez a sacrifice fly, and then David Peralta an RBI single. So it's a 3-0 lead. Tony Gonselin on the mound for the Dodgers, one of the Dodger pitchers that's actually been good and consistently good so far this season. But the Reds bounce right back against Gonselin. A hit by pitch with the bases loaded, if you'd believe it. That happened twice tonight. So, enjoy that. And then a 2-run single. Gonselin actually had runners at first and third with just 1 out in the first, is able to get out of it. The Dodgers broke things open in the top of the 4th. JD Martinez with the home run. Scott, he has 10 home runs since May 15th. We'll talk a little bit more about him. Freddie Freeman ends up hitting a grand slam in that inning as well. The Dodgers had nobody on with 2 outs. They load the bases and then hit a grand slam, all with 2 outs. The grand slam, they had a runner on first with 2 outs, turns into a grand slam. That grand slam, by the way, was on an 0-2 pitch. Bottom of the 4th, Gonselin should have gotten out of that one unscathed. That was the Max Muncie error on a play at third base. To me, ground ball to third, runners on first and second. Muncie could have easily just run it over to third base, put his foot on the base. He could have tagged the guy that was running right in front of him. Instead, he decides to throw it all the way across the diamond. The runner gets in his way. He airmails it 8-4. There, Gonselin able to limit the damage and get through 5. Almonte allows a run in the 6th on a Jonathan India infield single. There was a runner at third in part because of an error. So some more defensive issues for the Dodgers on that one. Gratterall gives up another infield single hit in the 7th. So how about this? We've got a run on a hit by pitch. We've got a run on an error. We've got 2 runs on infield singles. 4 of the first 5 runs were scored on errors, hit by pitch, or infield singles from the Dodgers bullpen. And then in the bottom of the 9th is when things obviously went sideways. A walk with the bases loaded, a hit by pitch with the bases loaded, and then a deep single to left center field. That is how this one played out for the Dodgers. Briefly, let's talk Tony Gonselin here, Scott. I know he's not the story. 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 walks, 4 runs, 5 strikeouts. Not his best performance. A little unlucky with the Max Muncie error there, but the Dodgers could have used more out of Gonselin tonight.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say this. He's got a lead. He's able to attack. Oro came out and he said, now you've got this big, you've got a sizable lead. You can go out here and you can attack. And after he allowed the 3 in the first, he walking 3 on the day. He retired his next 11 of 13, 4 strikeouts. So he turned it on a little bit. He was able to get the job done. He just, that early struggles kind of limited his pitch count.
Yeah.
And, put him in that bind. So we'd like him to go deeper, and maybe he should have. Yeah. Maybe Dave Roberts just wanted to, pull the plug, see if he can get some quick outs there, attack the zone, get him in there. But that's a lot to ask with Syndergaard on the mound tomorrow. So,
yeah, if you want salt in the wound, just be reminded of who's on the mound for the Dodgers tomorrow. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We're gonna have to. I'd really like to address like comments and stuff like that about people coming after Dave Roberts with some decision making and stuff like that. Dave Roberts is not going anywhere, guys.
Yeah,
like he's not. This is not a game that you're gonna point at Dave Roberts. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, these guys need to get outs, and that's just how it is. You can't continuously put stuff on Dave Roberts. He's going to put guys in with a lead. They should be able to do this. If you look at Caleb Ferguson not able to find the zone against however many hitters, then you kind of have to look right where that problem is.
Yeah, Caleb Ferguson is number one on the blame list. Like if you're not putting the guy who can't throw strikes and continuously is hitting people, if he's not atop your list, then I would encourage you to adjust your rankings because he absolutely belongs in that number one spot. And then again, we talked to Gonselin, 5 innings, 4 runs from him. Almonte allows a run, Gratterall allows a run, Ferguson allows 3, and Shelby Miller doesn't get credited with any earned runs, but gives up the game-winning hit. Again, the Dodgers had an 8-3 lead after the top of the 4th inning. They give back 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, and 3 in the 9th, unable to score any more for themselves offensively. Let's talk on the Dodgers side. 8 of the 9 starters get a hit tonight. Nobody had multiple hits. Everybody had one except for Will Smith. Will Smith was 0 for 4. Mookie Betts reaches 3 times in 5 plate appearances. Freddie Freeman reaches twice in 5 plate appearances, including the Grand Slam. Max Muncie, 1 for 4. JD Martinez, 1 for 3 with a sacrifice fly and the home run. David Peralta, 1 for 4. Hayward, 1 for 4. Vargas, 1 for 3. Rojas, 1 for 4 as well. Vargas also had a walk, so he reached base twice in 4 plate appearances. We talked about the offense going cold. Let's talk about a couple of the bright spots. JD Martinez, I mentioned it, 10 home runs since May 15th. I mean, this guy's on a heater like we haven't seen in a long time from a Dodgers hitter.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it on that live we had where we really got into it with when they brought in, Justin Turner was taking over that DH role for a little bit, and he wasn't too keen on it. He wasn't really a fan of it. And you bring in JD Martinez, longtime Boston, gets reunited with RVS and Mookie Betts, and he's just been something. That pitch was way inside, pulls it out to left. It's just it's something. Yeah. JD Martinez is just a fun guy to watch out there, and he's an anchor. It's just refreshing to have a DH where you don't have to cycle him in and out. You don't have to play platoon ball. You can just go out there and know he's going to hit, and that's exactly what he's done. He's barreling it. I don't care if he has a high OBP, he's slugging, and that's what you want out of your designated hitter. And because that's just another piece that you won't have to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. I like from Matty Man. JD is Manny when hot. That sounds about right. Here's some quotes from Dave Roberts. This is over our friend Matthew Moreno's Twitter account. On the walk-off loss, quote, just overall, not a lot of good. We scored 8 runs, which was certainly a positive. We scored 3 runs in the first inning and go back and give away 3 in the bottom half. Not good. More from Dave Roberts. Tony threw so many pitches that first inning, could only go 5 innings, and we were fortunate to get him through 5 innings. So what that does is it exposes you in the bullpen. Then when you go to the bullpen, they've got to be better. He continued, Evan was solid in facing their best hitters, giving us a chance to take another at-bat in the top of the 9th inning. Tonight, Fergie was all over the place. The walks, the hit batsman, it sped up on him. It was very apparent tonight. Any reaction to those quotes from Dave Roberts?
I mean, if anybody wants to hear Dave Roberts making a direct line to his guys, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
No manager is going to come out and call guys out like that.
But I mean, this is, I would say, as close as he gets
going to get. That's as close as you're going to get. And that's the respect level he has for these guys. They're big league players. They've been here before. You don't need to talk down to them. Yeah. And it's just ridiculous for people to think that managers are ever going to do that. There's just a respect level there. Him saying they need to be better, that's what it is. They need to be better. They're getting paid to do it, and they're in their job, and they didn't do their job today, and it resulted in an embarrassing loss. It's on the hands of the bullpen. You got to find the strike zone. If anybody wants a laugh, go look at Caleb Ferguson's heat map and pitch by pitch in that 9th inning, and you tell me if that's on Dave Roberts.
Yeah.
Just do that for me, please.
He came out and said Caleb Ferguson was a mess. I'll give Dave credit because on one hand, Caleb Ferguson doesn't need to be told that he was a mess. You think anybody knows more than Caleb Ferguson how bad he was tonight? I assure you that he thinks less of himself than any of us think of him. Okay.
Yep.
But Dave Roberts also, to his credit, goes out there and says, hey, you know what? Tony Gonselin didn't do a good enough job in the bottom of the 1st inning. Didn't keep his pitch count low enough. Could only get through 5 innings. And then you've got the rest of these guys, and then, hey, Ferguson was a mess. He's hitting guys. He's walking everybody. It was obvious he was rattled. Now, I'd like to see some accountability from Dave Roberts. that you tack on there at the end. Hey, you know what? I probably should have gone and gotten him a couple batters too soon, or a couple batters sooner. That's on me. We haven't seen that quote yet. Maybe it's coming. I don't know if we're gonna if he's still addressing the media, but that's the one piece that's missing to me, Scott, is just an acknowledgement. Hey, you know what? I wish we would have had Shelby Miller warming a little bit sooner. We probably could have gotten him up 1 or 2 batters earlier so he was ready to come in and face Kirk Casale and then Jake Fraley, rather than waiting 2 more batters until this thing was all a wrap. That's the only thing I wish I had more of from Dave Roberts in this. Another quote that's just coming out, by the way, Jack Harris of the LA Times saying that Max Muncie had his right middle finger jammed on the short hop throw he tried to catch at third base. That's why Dave Roberts was out in the top of the 7th. Let me ask you this, Scott. Are you buying that as the reason he was out in the top of the 7th, and not because he had a couple of errors and the Dodgers were up by a few runs and that maybe they opted for some better defense on third base? That was my assumption, that they just said, hey, 2 errors on Muncie tonight. The second one, maybe a Hayward error, maybe not a Muncie error. But by the way, there were a couple throws that it looked like Freddie Freeman dug out. Muncie was not good at third base. We can talk bigger picture. To me, if we find out a week from now that this is just Dave covering for the fact that he benched Muncie because he wanted to upgrade the defense at third base, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll never know about that, and that's how it is. Or they kind of make decisions and come out with reasons that's just it. You'll never know. But I would say that it might be a mix of the both.
Yeah. How coincidental, by the way, Scott, that they're already announcing he'll be back in the lineup for tomorrow. It's amazing that they have the diagnosis and the timeline as quickly as possible. I mean, yeah, because we could talk Muncie. Like, I won't say defended Muncie. I've always been like, I don't think it's as bad as some people have made it out to be. But it was a roller coaster today with Muncie. Yeah. A couple of errors. Again, one that leads directly to a run. The second one with Almonte, I believe, on the mound. You can make a case that maybe he's not helping his pitcher's cause there, as bad as Almonte was in that one. So it's tough. I mean, where are you at on Muncie, the defender at third base? Like, is it bad enough that they need to do something about it? Or do you just look and say, look, they have JD Martinez at DH, Freddie Freeman at first, Vargas at second. There's nowhere else to put him. So we're just going to have to live with it.
I mean, Vargy at second base is kind of where you have him. I don't think that you're going to get much more athleticism than that when you slide Max Muncie over there. I don't think that's really where they want to go. I mean, for throwing purposes, maybe, but Muncie's just not a very athletic third baseman. And he's played this his first year at the position in bulk time. Maybe he needs to get some extra time there, and that's I don't want to put him at second base and flip that. I don't think you're going to get much more there. I think for all the balls that Vargy doesn't get to on shifts, you're going to see that many more getting through. So, and also, I don't think Vargas's arm is up to speed to play third base. Muncie uncorks him, when he needs to fire it across. And Chris Taylor's had some really good throws, but it's not enough to take Max Muncie out of there. You're not experimenting. Don't even think about it, Jeff. We're not putting JD Martinez in the field.
JD and left, baby. JD and left.
It's not happening.
It's not happening because what's worse than Max Muncie at third is JD Martinez and left. That's so
it's just, you want to break it down however you want to break it down.
Yeah.
Max Muncie, that's a mental error. Should have just, you see a lot of guys fire across when it's the easy play is directly in front of them just to trot to the bag and tag it. He should do more of that. And let's see that going forward. Let's see more of that, Max, please.
For what it's worth, I'm not watching the Dave Roberts interview because I am here with you all. The notes that I am receiving via people on Twitter are that the quote that we read about Caleb Ferguson may have been the tip of the iceberg. It sounds like Dave's going in on him a little bit, which, based on everything we just said, I think would be a surprise to all of us. So I'll just say we'll probably have it up on the Dodger Blue YouTube page. So be sure to check that out afterwards. But I see some people on Twitter. I see some people in the comments. I see some people in my text messages saying, oh boy, to this Dave Roberts quote interview on Caleb Ferguson. So for what it's worth, something to monitor there. I'll see if we can get some more quotes. We'll get to those as we go. We always do this on post-game shows, Scott. It feels kind of ridiculous to do this after a game like we just saw. But Do you have a player of the game? Do we want to be a little bit of positivity here before we get to some questions? Player of the game, is it Freddie Freeman with the grand slam? Is it JD Martinez, solo shot and a sacrifice fly? Is it Evan Phillips for showing us what a clean inning looks like late in a game? Who you got for your player of the game?
I'll tweet out my own player of the game, but I'm going to say here that there's no player of the game for a loss like this. I'm just going to say that right now. Yeah, it's cool. Okay. I'm not no player of the game. It's cool that Freddie hit a grand slam on an 0-2 count. It's cool that Evan Phillips is the only reliever that we seemingly can trust out there, and he got some big outs, and that's it for me. That's all I got. I don't think that there's highlight of the game. The offense put up 8 and then didn't do anything afterwards when they definitely should have. And everybody in the bullpen needs to be better. Dave Roberts said it. If anybody wants accountability from your manager, him directly saying that a complete group on your team needs to be better. Yeah, there you go. And that's for me. That's the player of the game is Dave's comments.
Okay, there you go. I like that one. I'll go Freddie Freeman, 0-2 count, grand slam. It was a 4-3 game at the time. He hits a grand slam. It feels like they put that one out of reach at that time. Again, that's a player of the game. It is a loss. It's a gut-wrenching loss, but it is what it is. Caleb Ferguson, quote, "I've just got to pitch better. I felt good. Just pitch better." So any thoughts on that one, Scott? I'll read that again. I've just got to pitch better. I felt good. Just pitch better.
Yep. That's what I expect. That's about all I can. What else are you going to get from him? He knows he sucked, and that's just how it is. That's it. That's it.
I mean, I don't know what he's supposed to say in that moment. Hey, I was terrible tonight. I mean, it's basically what he said. So it's kind of funny when they're like, I felt good. And I mean, look, he probably did. There's no reason for him to lie about that in this moment. But I mean, there you go. All right, let's get to some questions. If we want to think positive, we can. Oh no, Circus Syndergaard's on the mound tomorrow, so maybe it won't get.
Everybody give them to me. Fire away.
Yeah, fire away. What questions you want to ask? Yeah, I mean, Scott hates food questions, but if you want to brighten his day, maybe tonight's the night for a food question, Scotty.
Nah, no food questions. I'm here to be here for everyone who just wants to go in, and that's fine. That's totally fine.
If you've got a question, throw it in the chat with an all caps question. That helps us find it. I'll go scroll up a little bit because I think I did see a couple question. Okay, Roy thinks I'm blind that Muncie has been horrible defensively from opening day. So there you go. Thank you. Again, I didn't say Muncie was awesome. I just think he's like average. But so you could disagree with that. That's fine. Ederico wants to know, Will Smith, is he a free agent? Any concerns about him going? He's not a free agent at the end of this year. He's got a few more years. Let's see. I was going to try and find.
He's in ARB1 right now.
ARB1.
So he's got 2 more years.
2024, 2025 under team control, and then he's an unrestricted free agent in 2026. So he's not going anywhere. That's the good news. The free agent at the end of this year that you may or may not want to be worried about is Julio Urias. That's the only guy that the Dodgers, I mean, I guess JD Martinez, the way he's swinging it right now, maybe as a free agent, the Dodgers will have to worry about. But there we go. Thunderpants wants to know, will Thor finish the season as a starter? Let me change this question. Will Thor finish the season? No, Thor will not be finishing the season. That's my answer, Scott.
Agree. Yeah, no, I'd love to see him bounce it around and find some role somewhere, but unless he finds some fountain of youth or becomes Benjamin Button, I don't think he finishes the season with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, let's see. Apparently there's a high-speed chase on Channel 9. Don't go there now. Keep watching us. But okay, a couple questions here. Jason, using intellectual honesty, which, come on, Jason, that's all we do on the show is intellectual honesty. That's like our nickname is DodgerHeads, aka intellectual honesty. Does this team need to address the starters or the bullpen more immediately? I'll let you answer this one first, Scott.
I would say that addressing like both is immediately.
Said which is more pressing? Which is a bigger concern for you, starting pitching or bullpen?
I'd say bullpen.
Okay.
I honestly would say this is one of the worst units they've ever had. I feel like they have a couple, like Michael Grove gave us enough. Like he threw a couple hangers and that sucks, but he looked great. He on national TV, Michael Grove looked fantastic. He was missing bats. We're going to see Julio come back here pretty soon. So they're going to get some innings out of that. But I would say that the bullpen, without a doubt, it's just, we'll see what we have in Nick Robertson. I know he's with the club now. But I think the bullpen, because it's tough to find roles for guys when none of them want to pitch well enough to solidify a role in the bullpen.
So let me ask you just real quick. The Dodgers have 4 guys that I would say have been people that you feel like you can trust in the back of the bullpen who all are struggling right now. I'm thinking Gratterall, Almonte, Vesia, and Caleb Ferguson. Of those 4, are there any of those 4 guys that you expect yourself to trust 2.5 months from now? Almonte, Ferguson, Gratterall, and Vesia. Those are 4 guys who were really good to elite last season. And I would say some of them 3 weeks ago were in one of those categories. So are any of those 4 you feel like guys that you have a degree of confidence you'll be able to trust?
I want to say Almonte figures it out. I really think Yensi's got it. I think that sweeper is really good. He's just had some. I just think that's how it is. I think that Yensi's performed well enough, and they know what his profile is to figure it out because he's had some really solid stretches. It's just his ERA is exploded, so it looks really bad. But I think he can figure it out. Ferguson will be fine. This is just his worst outing maybe ever. This just looks really bad. Vesia, I think, is broken. I'm not sure what we get out of him. And Gratterall needs to learn to miss bats. And that's just, I don't know if he'll figure that out, but he needs that really bad.
Gratterall to me is like, if we just adjust expectations, he's not going to be a high leverage guy. Like if you just accept that Gratterall is like a 7th inning guy instead of an 8th or 9th inning guy, you'll be happy with Gratterall. I mean, the ERA is fine. He doesn't strike people out, but he gets soft contact. So anyways, I'm with you. I think Almonte and Ferguson are guys that I'm gonna feel okay about in a couple months. Although Almonte, he keeps putting these little blips on the radar up, and he makes me a little worse. To answer Jason's question, this one's a tough one for me because I want to say bullpen, and yet the bullpen has a bunch of guys who are on the injured list who might come back at some point. All of whom, there might be 2 or 3 back end of the bullpen guys on the injured list that the Dodgers have for a stretch run and into the playoffs. Or none of those guys could get healthy, or they could come back and be rusty. I mean, the bullpen, wide variance, let's say that. On the starting pitching side, when Julio gets healthy, which was expected to be this weekend, he did not have a good simulated game today. So I'm curious if they push back his start beyond the weekend. But when Julio comes back, then I think the rotation starts to settle in a little bit because I still trust Julio. Bobby Miller's look good. I trust Kershaw. I trust Gonselin. And then I think Grove was fine in that 5th starter role. And then if you get Pepio back, if you get Dustin May back, like I just think the rotation will be good enough. But there's a lot of ifs in what I just said. Julio has not been good. Pepio is currently hurt. Dustin May is currently hurt. If you told me that one of those 2 guys never pitches this season, like it wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world. And so I think there's a lot of ifs or question marks in both of those categories. But if I had to pick one, I would pick bullpen. Scott, this next question is going to make you sad. I'm just warning you ahead of time. Okay. I think I just lost it. Oh no, here we go. Scrolling down. Here we go. The pen sucks, but Vargas has been very unimpressive so far. 14th percentile average exit velocity, 11th percentile in hard hit rate, other middling StatCast numbers. What are your thoughts? Scotty,
he's struggled.
Yeah,
he's struggled a lot.
Vice chair of the Miguel Vargas fan club. I'll let you have the floor.
No, he's definitely struggled. He's kind of in the in-between. He's being able to work counts at the moment, but when he does need to make contact, he's not making contact. It's just been, he's even talked about it himself, how seeing his batting average go down has been frustrating for him, considering he was such a high OBP, high average guy coming up. So he has to be in there. So there is no other option. It's not like a James Outman situation where you're able to find infielders somewhere or outfielders. Sorry, excuse me. Miguel Vargas is a higher hit tool guy than James Outman was coming up, and they'll need Vargas to figure it out. And
you think he will?
He struggled.
Do you have confidence?
Yes, I think. I mean, he's at a tough point. If him flipping around is getting that up to 270, 260, 270. Yeah. He's just batting in the 220s at the moment and has just been trending downwards. So they're figuring him out a little bit. The league is getting to him. So let's have him work with, JD. Hopefully he does something there, RVS, and they get in the room, and because he'll be big. They'll need it, but you can't have both James Outman and Miguel Vargas struggling. You can hide James Outman, but Miguel Vargas struggling, that's a tough one because they don't have infield depth there to like mask that.
Yeah. Lewis, do you think Syndergaard could benefit from a reset like the Blue Jays are doing with Manoah? My answer is no.
No.
Monique asks, why does everyone hate on Dave Roberts? Please explain. I don't get it. Monique, on a night like tonight, the reason people hate on Dave Roberts is because he mishandled the ninth inning. And there's really no arguing about that. I don't know what the alternative view is. You could make a case he mishandled the bullpen. Should he have gone to Ferguson earlier? I mean, at some point he was going to have to face righties, and it was a mess. So that's why on a night like tonight, I still think the totality of Dave Roberts is a positive and not a negative. But on a night like tonight, tonight's not the night to make that argument. I'll leave it there. Let's see if we have some more questions here. With the defensive issues and JD hitting well, is Muncie on the chopping block? The answer to this one is a clear no. Top 5 in the league in home runs. So you're going to put up with a little bit of bad defense from your third baseman because you have nowhere else to put him. So there you go. I'm just seeing, by the way, Scotty, that you were asked a question and we got a classic Scotty push. So
I didn't even Scotty push it.
Yeah, you kind of, it was an either or, and you said both. That was
and then I said the bullpen. I like to cater to both. I like to give, at least talk about both. I don't just like to say one is completely irrelevant. No, it's definitely, I said why the starting pitching. And then is that Matt? Tell Matt to get out of here, man. Get on the recap. Love you, Matt.
I just love it. Whenever Blake's here and Blake doesn't answer a question, I say, oh, you're pulling a Scotty over there. Sure enough, I say starters or relievers, and you say both. To your credit, you did answer it. You did also answer player of the game when I asked you that, and you didn't answer that one originally. But, 90 seconds later, you said Dave Roberts post-game quote, so we'll accept it.
Yes.
Noah asks, when Dustin and Julio come back, do you believe they DFA Syndergaard and put Dustin in the bullpen? The reason in the bullpen is because his swing and miss pitches plus not overworked. So, do you think Syndergaard gets DFA'd as soon as Julio comes back? That's question number one.
Oh, man.
I'm going to say no because I think they need to have more than 6 healthy starting pitchers, and he would be number 6. So I think it's a phantom IL stint is my guess for Thor once Julio comes back.
Sure. Yeah, I absolutely think that. Yeah. They don't want to give up on him like that. Maybe they want to hide him. That's it. They're not just going to, I don't think they'll DFA him. If they DFA him, I know a lot of people will rejoice and, maybe throw a party, but I don't think they'll do that. Just like you said, phantom IL stint. Man, I really wanted his changeup to figure it out.
Yeah.
I wrote about that earlier on in the season, and I really wanted the Dodgers to work with them and find his changeup and get that back to, really early career stuff, because the same thing like they did with Tyler Anderson, but it just didn't happen. Sorry, Thor. Okay. I took that name away from you.
What about the second piece of this? Do you think Dustin May coming back as a reliever? We're talking about a team that needs help in the bullpen. We're talking about a guy that can't seem to stay healthy for very long. Do you think, for the last 2.5 months, two months of the season, that maybe that's an option? Or because he was pitching so well as a starter and because they have needs over there, do you think they go that route?
I don't think people are really taking how big of a deal Dustin May's injury is, because he's such a high velocity guy. He has so much arm action. I don't know if the Dodgers will really rush him at all. Like, it wouldn't shock me if at some point he's just out for the rest of the season. He has a very tricky injury. They're doing something that is not 100% foolproof, and they definitely won't have it. And we definitely have not heard exactly or everything that goes along with his injury, just like we didn't with Walker Buehler. We didn't hear the whole thing there. It took a Walker Buehler really coming out with that. You know what I mean? Yeah, so 100%. We might not see Dustin May the rest of the season, and it wouldn't shock me if that's the case. Yeah. Because he's such a high energy pitcher and has so much, puts so much pressure on his arm. It would be really tough for me to see them do that, considering it'd be rushing him back. Walker Buehler is a different story. So I don't think would that work? Maybe, but he doesn't get misses like that. It'd be like having another Brewstar Gratterall in the bullpen. Yeah. I mean, literally it would be. Yeah. Let's see. Updates on Trinan Hudson and Fireisen. No, unfortunately we have no updates on those. Hudson's with the team. He's continued his throwing program. So he's with the team. So that's a very positive sign. It's not his arm, it's his knee. So, that's a big deal. So I know David Bassett reported on that, and a lot of people have, and that's just the one I pulled up.
Okay. So
But
there you go.
that's a positive. Trinan,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Fire Eisen is just like, I think somebody mentioned it. What was it? I think said the same thing. Who was it? Fire Eisen was the new, I think Danny Duffy, somebody said.
Gosh,
Exactly.
Don't say that.
That's somebody. Hey, I hope not.
not?
I hope not. Fire Eisen's a great dude. He gave me his time now in spring, and that was great. Appreciate him.
Yep. All right. We had a couple more here. Should the pitching coach for the Dodgers be making the decision and who to bring into the game? I mean, look, that's the manager's job. So do I think the Dodgers might be better off if Mark Pryor was left to make those decisions based on experience? I would say yes. But that's not going to happen. So, we can keep moving on that front. All right, let's see. Got any more questions? Oh, here we go. Yeah, Matt chiming in. Hopefully facing batters soon, trying and Fire Eisen much further down the road. So appreciate that. Scott looks like Robb Stark from Game of Thrones. I'm not a Game of Thrones guy, so
I've never seen that, but I appreciate that a lot. I hear John Marston. Anybody else can confirm that. I went clean shave. I look like.
Did you just say you appreciate that without knowing what Robb Stark looks like?
Yeah, man. If somebody wants to come out here and slander me, then that's, and I agree, fire away, but
yeah. El Shiva asks, need relievers and starters. Is there any hope for helping this? I mean, relievers, Nick Robertson got called up today. So, I mean, maybe there's some hope there, I guess. There's not really any starters or relievers in the organization at the AAA level. I know somebody in the chat is going to tell me about all the guys at AA, and yeah, there's a lot of good starting pitching at AA. The Dodgers clearly don't think they're major league ready. And so that's where we're at. Okay. Matt says we should end on a lighter note. What is the best shake from In-N-Out, and why is it the Neapolitan? Chocolate. Just give me chocolate all day. Scotty?
Strawberry. Big strawberry guy.
Okay. Have you tried the strawberry frosty from Wendy's that they're doing right now?
Nope. That's most food stuff you're getting out of me tonight.
Oh, come on, Scotty. We still got like 5 more minutes here. Throw some food questions on here just so we can force Scotty to answer it. Here we go. Kevin asks, will the Dodgers become a bad baseball team in the upcoming years? No, they will not.
Nope.
So,
nope.
There you go. They won't even be a bad baseball team this year or
not even a bad baseball team right now. Nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Go to bed, wake up tomorrow and remind yourself.
Are you panicking? Are you panicking? Arizona Diamondbacks in first place, Scott.
No
panic.
They're a fun, exciting team, and they're playing with some fire. Are the Dodgers
going to win the division?
Oh, man, come on, Jeff. It's June 6th. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
Thunderpants wants to know, have you been watching NCAA baseball tournament? Any arms there we want to draft? I don't know. But I will be watching more of the NCAA baseball tournament because my Oregon Ducks are in the final 16. Scotty, I look, I'm not a college baseball guy, so apologies to anybody that's offended by that. But I just learned the Ducks starting shortstop is this guy who's from Japan. He came over here and played at a tiny community college just outside of Portland, Mount Hood Community College. He played 2 years there, and he's now the second baseman for the Ducks. He's 5'6" and 150 pounds. Scotty, he uses a wood bat in college baseball, Division I. He is choosing to use a wood bat, and there's a highlight from him a couple months ago hitting an opposite field home run. 5'6", 150, wooden bat in college, hitting bombs. I'm all in on this guy. So there's my college baseball talk. Yeah, there you go. You watching college baseball? You care?
I'll be tuning in. I can't do the regular season, but once it gets going, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Oregon Ducks versus Oral Roberts, Super Regional, Eugene, Oregon, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Shout out to the Ducks taking down the Vanderbilt Commodores, knocking them out. So there you go. Dong wants to know, yes or no, Brent's Deli. I like Brent's Deli. You have any thoughts?
Love
Scotty?
Brent's Deli. Huge fan. Give me a little sky high pastrami, a little rye bread. Talk to me. Keep the pickles coming.
See, there we go. Now we got a food opinion out of there.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. We're out. Will Bickford come back, or is he cooked? I'm just stalling until somebody gives me a good food question to ask Scotty here. Throw something in the chat at me, folks.
Don't do this.
Is Bickford
be able
cooked?
to get a clip.
Is Bickford cooked?
I don't think Bickford's cooked.
No, he's fine. He is what he is. Like
yeah.
Well, I mean,
he is who he is.
Right now, today he's cooked. Let his arm rest for a couple of weeks because they tried to break it off of his body. There you go. When will DeLuca start? Expected to start tomorrow. Scotty, do you know what college DeLuca went to?
Tell him, Jeff.
The University of Oregon, baby. Quack, quack, quack.
There he is.
There you go. Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. We got 2 food questions. Parmesan. Are we going veal, chicken, or eggplant, Scotty? Oh, I feel like, hold on, pause. I feel like we're about to get a Scott Geirman answer right here. You know what the answer right down the middle is, and you're not going to say it because you know you don't believe it. Go ahead. You're an eggplant Parmesan guy, aren't you?
No, none. Remember? I don't do cheese.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Yeah, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. Best looking, but worst food takes.
Chicken Parmesan. Easy answer here.
It's not for my hop.
Okay, we'll send you a softball here. Dodger dogs overrated or good, Scotty?
Overrated.
Yeah, overrated.
Not even close.
They're fine. Like, I think they're not elite. They're fine. I would eat them. So Matt Moreno's the big Dodger dog guy on our staff. He crushes 2 every time he's in the press box. He's got 2 down halfway through the 6th. So there you go. Okay, here we go. We got more one. Keto or gluten-free? Which one tastes worse?
Gluten-free.
Really? See, maybe it's just Oregon. There's incredible gluten-free options up here. So I'm going keto. Would be worse. Okay, Dong asks, cereal or milk? Which is first, cereal or milk? Which do you put into the bowl first?
Oh, cereal.
Don't tell me yeah, okay.
Who does milk first?
Do you want to bet? I'll make you a bet that Blake's a milk.
Oh, geez,
guy, right?
God.
Would you be surprised?
No, 0.
Yeah, no
way.
Yeah. Okay, and favorite cereal?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, great choice.
I could hammer a box of that just laying in bed.
Yeah. Confirmed, by the way. Blake does milk first.
100%.
Yeah. So there you go. You said Cinnamon Toast Crunch, favorite cereal?
Yeah, so
It's
good.
a great one. Let's see. I mean, I like Lucky Charms. I like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I like granola. So, I don't know if that's a hot take, but I like a little bit of granola. So there you go. Oh gosh, Kevin. Kevin says he does milk first. Kevin, my friend, homie. Oh no. Cup of milk with ice. What are we doing here, folks? You put ice in your milk, Scotty?
Oh, guys, we're doing so well.
Are you an ice in your orange juice? What about ice and orange juice? How do you feel about ice and orange juice?
No, you don't want that. No.
Yeah, it's weird. That's weird. So there you go.
Guys, making me uncomfortable right now. What is this?
There you go. All right. On that note, we'll get out of here.
Man,
Dodgers, tough one for the Dodgers. We try to end on a lighter note. They blow a 5-run lead, though. They lose 9-8 to the Reds. Caleb Ferguson's terrible. Dave Roberts is terrible. The Dodgers offense gets 1 hit after the 4th inning. The non-Evan Phillips relievers allowed 15 base runners while getting just 7 outs, aside from a perfect inning from Evan Phillips. So rough stuff all around. Do check out the Dodger Blue YouTube page right here as soon as we are done. YouTube.com/DodgerBlue1958. Subscribing the notification bell. But Dave Roberts' interview, I'm guessing will be on here. We usually have that kind of thing. So check here for that. Check out DodgerBlue.com for the latest, for the recap. You can find Scott's writing, game previews, all that sort of thing there. That is Scott Geirman. My name is Jeff Spiegel. As always, we appreciate you joining us. Enjoy the rest of your night. And of course, go Dodgers.